I could now like to open up the meeting to questions and comments from people. I would just remind you to keep your questions to the agenda if at all possible. I'd like to hear from you. Perhaps you could introduce yourself first.
Hello, hi. I'm Catherine. I'm on the NHS Improvement Whistleblower scheme at the moment. So I'm here. So it was really quite interesting to hear you talk at the start of the meeting about shadowing opportunities. So my question from the board papers is just looking at your action log from for today, and just looking at oral item paragraph 8.1. I didn't ask that previously, but it was just about a member of the public who asked a question about how to help whistleblowers get into work. So my question is to the board is why won't, because I'm on the NHS whistleblower scheme and I've asked NHS Improvement for some shadowing work experience, and I've been told that I can't have any because basically you're going through a restructure with NHS England and basically, and also it would be too sensitive as well for me to have some shadowing work experience in the organisation. So I'm just here really listening to you talking about bullying and things that are going on in how to engage staff in the NHS, and I'm just an example of it. And I'm just saying, if you can't help me in this position, all I've asked for is some shadowing and some work experience with yourselves, and I've been declined. And I'm sitting here and I'd rather be at work, but because basically I've whistleblown on something and I've gone through the scheme. This was in July. I've been on the schemes waiting for a work placement since June. So it's just frustrating to see this as an action completed when I'm sitting here every day, and it's so nice to actually have come here today and listen to, you can actually see people all sitting here wanting to improve things. So that is quite inspiring for me, but it's quite upsetting when I've spoken up in the NHS, and I'm here for other people that have spoke up as well, who perhaps in your 20% on your ambulance service, who, and I'm the example. If you don't help people like me, you're not going to help the other people in the system. So so my question to the board is: Are you aware that people on the NHS improvement scheme are not being offered opportunities within NHS improvement as per oral item paragraph 8.1 on your board agenda? So sorry to be such a heated topic, but I feel quite passionate to come and say it.
Totally appropriate, and thank you for raising it. I suggest maybe asking Ruth to speak generically about the whistleblower scheme. What I am cautious about doing in a big forum like this is talking about your specific circumstances. I think we should take that out of the meeting, if that's okay.
Yes, that's
rather than try and respond without the detail and with the cameras rolling, which feels wrong. So Ruth, do you want to comment about the scheme in general and how we are trying to help each of the people on the scheme get work shadowing and move back into the system in employment?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Wendy, you've probably been in contact with, and colleagues have been trying to support people back into placements. We've been quite successful now with a couple of those happening. I have met one of those people on the scheme to try and support them as well, and I've had a very personal conversation with them. I'm very happy after this is that you and I can have a conversation. Perhaps we can move that on.
Yeah, that'd be appreciated.
It'd be my pleasure.
Just hearing about trust in special measures, and you were talking about the root cause analysis of what's gone wrong. I just wondered, what does the board do to sort of monitor and address those trusts that maybe they've got bullying or harassment or like issues that you've talked about, but for in the ambulance trust. So what sort of monitoring and measures does the trust board put in place with regard to that?
Kathy, would you talk to the quality and safety review that you've been doing recently?
So in terms of trusts that are particularly challenged, I think you're referring to, and where sometimes, yes, I agree, it is one of those indicators quite often. So obviously there are various things we put in place, such as oversight, and that will be part of that. And then of course there are publicly visible, there's things like the staff survey, and so on. So that is monitored. But we would expect actually the trust board itself to take that on and to be reporting themselves about how they're addressing that through their own board arrangements and governance arrangements. But certainly it would be part of the things that we keep an oversight and expect to see progress. And indeed we offer support with that. We often offer them resources so they can bring in expertise to get alongside and help, or provide them with a buddy trust who has done some things well. For example, Sir Andrew's very familiar with that because it did that indeed at Frimley with another organisation. So that's the sort of thing that we try and do, but we take it very, very seriously, I have to say, because it is a really key indicator of the culture and the leadership, as we talked about earlier.
And it's fair to say, I think it's one of the main recommendations from Bill Kirkup's review of what happened in Liverpool community.
Indeed.
And we've been looking, you and Ruth have just completed a sort of quality review where we've been looking at a number of these softer people indicators as there's no doubt that as a system, ourselves and the other arm's length bodies have not been good at catching the early warning signs before dreadful things happen.
Yep.
So we take it very seriously. I don't think any of us think we get it 100% right either, and that we have to improve ourselves. Can I suggest on your personal circumstances that I'm very kind of Ruth to have a chat, but we should also make sure that we feed in and ask the regional team and the regional director to take responsibility of making sure that we are delivering on our commitments as part of the whistleblower scheme.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Anything else? Any other business? No, in which case I will call the meeting closed. Thank you all very much.